Hello students, today we are going to discuss one important topic, that is program development cycle. Before we start with this, let us be familiar with some of the terms and definitions you must know. First is program. As we have discussed in previous class, we use computer to perform various tasks in our day-to-day life, and these tasks are performed by the computer system with the help of program which is written for it. So what exactly is this program? Program is nothing but it is a self-contained set of well-defined computer instructions which are used to perform a specific task. When we select the option withdraw at ATM for withdrawing money, the machine executes the program which is designed for withdrawal of money, wherein it contains a set of instructions. So some instructions may print the message for the user to enter PIN, that is personal identification number. Another instruction may print a message for prompting the user to enter the amount, to select the type of account. Some instructions may perform the calculations. For example, once we provide the details such as PIN, the type of account and the amount to be withdrawn, it must deduct the amount from our balance. Instructions in this program may also check for the available balance. If the balance is less, then it informs the user that there is no sufficient balance. This is how the program is written for withdrawal of money, which contains a set of instructions which perform various operations. The meaning of a set of well-defined computer instruction is nothing but here every instruction which is written will tell the computer what operation is to be performed. For example, if the instruction is for print, then computer displays the message on the screen. If it is for calculation, then computer performs the related calculations. Thus, the program is defined as a self-contained set of well-defined computer instructions which are used to perform specific task. Here there is one example of C program which will add 10 and 20, and it displays the addition on the screen. Next is programming. Programming is the process of coding, debugging and executing sequential instructions to solve a given problem. So here coding indicates here writing instructions in the programming language. We can use different programming languages to code the program such as C, C++, Java, C#. In this semester, you will be learning programming language C. Once the program is coded, next step is debugging. So debugging is the process of checking for errors. If there are any errors in the program, then it informs the user about these errors so that the user can rectify them. Once the program is error-free, we can execute the program. So this entire process of coding, debugging and executing is called as programming. The programming involves applying logic to find solution for a problem. The process of programming requires proficiency in many different subjects, including knowledge of the application domain, that is If you are developing a program for an organization, you must know how that organization works. If you are developing a program for a bank, then you must have the knowledge how the bank functions. We also require specialized algorithms, that is, various procedures which we can use, various techniques which we can use for developing the program, and formal logic. Next term is programming logic. So what is this programming logic? Programming logic is the method of applying intelligence and knowledge to establish overall elements and structure of a program. When a user wants to develop a program in some programming language, for example, C programming, so the user must have the knowledge of this C programming language. That is, what are the various instructions used, how the calculations are performed, all this knowledge the user should have. In addition to this knowledge, it is also important how the user is intelligently and efficiently using these statements to develop a program. Two different users may write different programs for the same task in the same programming language based on their intelligence and their knowledge. Thus, the programming logic is the method of applying intelligence and the knowledge what we have to establish overall elements and structure of a program. Key logic elements are as follows: number of instructions required to develop the program, type and number of data required to be input, that is, what inputs are required and the input should be of what type, whether it should be in number format or text format, and so on. Processing involving expressions, it includes arithmetic operations, relational, which is used for comparisons, and logical expressions. So in further classes we will be learning all these various expressions which help us to write the program. Then kind of output to be obtained, that is, the output which the program must generate after execution, and use of controls like branching and looping. Branching controls are used for checking for the condition and based on the condition executing a set of instructions. For example, in the example which we discussed of withdrawal of money, branching statement is used to check the balance. If the balance is not sufficient, then the proper message will be given to the user. If there is sufficient balance, then the required amount can be withdrawn by the user. Looping controls are nothing but these are the controls used when we want to execute a set of same instructions repeatedly. In that case, looping controls are useful. So all these are the key elements which are required to develop a program. So with this, let us go to the main topic, that is program development cycle. Program development cycle specifies a set of steps which we must follow while developing a program. So first one is defining the problem. This step defines the purpose of writing the program. Problem should be defined clearly without any ambiguity. For example, let us take a very simple example. Program to calculate the performance of a student. Once the problem is defined, the next step is analyzing the problem. So analyzing is nothing but here studying the problem in detail, wherein we try to find out what are the inputs required, what output is required to be generated by the program, what are the various calculations, what are the various limitations. All these parameters are studied during the analyzing. So for example, when we are calculating the performance of a student during analyzing phase, we may specify what are the inputs required, that is marks of a student, other details about student like roll number, name, class, division, how many subjects, or what are the maximum marks for every subject, what are the passing marks. All these inputs which are required are specified. We must also specify the output which the program should generate. So in this case, we need to display total marks, average marks, and also class scored by the student, such as first class, distinction, second class, and so on. After analyzing the problem, the next step is designing the algorithm. So algorithm is nothing but a step-by-step procedure to solve a given problem. So at this step, we specify the procedure which we must follow for calculating performance of a student. We will study in detail about these algorithms in the further classes. For now, let me tell you in brief the algorithm for calculating the student's performance. So algorithm will be, first step is collecting the information about the student, that is the marks of the student. Once the marks are collected, next step is performing calculations. In sequence, the calculations can be specified. For example, first the total is calculated, then the average is calculated, and after calculating average, it checks in what range the average lies, and based on that result, proper result will be displayed by the program. So this is how a step-by-step procedure is specified by using algorithm. So this algorithm will help us for the next stages of the development. That is, next stages coding the program. Once the algorithm is designed at the third step, with the help of this algorithm, program is coded. That is, program instructions are written in the programming language with the help of various statements which are available in that programming language. Once the program is coded, the next step is testing and debugging the program. So at this step, it checks whether there are any errors present in the program. If program contains errors, it may not get executed. So it is important to rectify all these errors present in the program. So during testing, all these errors are detected and rectified, and the program is made error-free. It also checks whether the program is giving the correct output as per the user's requirements or not at this testing stage. In case of students' performance example, the program is tested by giving marks of different ranges and possible outputs are checked. Once the program is tested and it is confirmed that the program is generating the correct output, the next step is the implementation of the program and training the users. After implementation of the program, the users will be trained so that they can understand how to work with the program, because they are the people who will be using the program to perform their functions. And the last step is maintaining and updating the program. In future, if there are any changes to be done in the program based on the user's requirements, the program need to be updated and the required changes will be performed in the program. So that is termed as maintenance of the program. Let me give one example here. Suppose in case of students program, for the next year, if there are new subjects introduced, new extra subjects are introduced, or the criteria for giving grade or class is changed. For example, earlier above 85 was considered as distinction. Now it is changed to 75%. So all such changes in the future must be done in the existing program and it is updated. So these are all steps involved in program development cycle. These steps are followed in sequence, and sometimes it is also required to go back to the previous steps whenever required. For example, once the problem is defined and analyzed and the design is prepared using algorithms or the other tools like AR diagrams, flowchart, use case diagrams and so on, this design of the program is communicated with the end users. End users are those users who will be using the program. During this communication, it is checked whether all their requirements have been specified in the design or not. Sometimes what happens is some of the requirements of the users may not be specified or added in the design. So all this must be clarified before we start coding the program. Sometimes it may also happen that while testing the program, we have come across with some errors, and to rectify those errors, we need to change the design of the program. So this is how sometimes some of the steps can be executed more than once, and we need to go back to the previous steps. So this is how the program development cycle works.